Hello everyone, my name is Noemi Garcia Tagorda and I'm happy that you have joined us today for our chat on how to pay for USC. And I'm a representative of the Financial Aid Office and I'm joined here today by two of my colleagues, and I allow them to introduce themselves. Go ahead.
Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Medina, welcome.
My name is Lori Council and I'm here representing the Office of Student Financial Services and the University Cashier's Office.
Great. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to ask a couple of questions, and Jessica and Lori will answer them. So the first question that we have today is, how does the Federal Work-Study Program work?
So you would actually have to obtain a job on campus and you would receive a paycheck every single 2 weeks. The amount is dependent upon the hours that you work within those 2 weeks, and your salary is decided by your employer. A big question that we get right now is, how do I find a work-study position, or how do I find a work-study job? And the week before classes start, whether it be Thursday or Friday, we're going to have a work-study fair. And if work-study is listed within your financial aid summary, you'll receive an email from our office, and within that email it will have the date, time, and location of that work-study fair, and you would be able to walk around and apply for different positions that you are interested in. I do recommend that at this point, to prep for the work-study fair, that you create your schedule of availability. So if you've already registered for your classes, you know what days you are going to be in class and what days you would have available to work. That's going to be one of the first questions that a potential employer may ask, is what hours are you able to work throughout the week. You want to keep in mind that you do not count work-study as a credit towards your e-pay or towards your billing account, because those funds will go directly to you in the form of a paycheck. They're not meant to reduce or pay off any of the amount that is due the Friday before classes start.
Thanks, Jessica. We have another question about financial aid, and this one is from Matthew. He wants to know if his financial aid package for the 14-15 academic year is a good indicator of what he will receive the following academic year, assuming that his finances will remain the same.
I get this question a lot, and I usually say that there's 3 main reasons why an award letter would change from one year to the next. At the top of the list is that continuing students forget to apply for financial aid on time. And if you don't apply for financial aid on time as a continuing student, you can run the risk of receiving a reduction in that university grant that was awarded. The second reason is if your parents' income, investments, and assets drastically change from one year to the next, whether they increase or decrease, of course that's going to have a change within that expected family contribution. And then the third reason is if the number of students within the household pursuing an undergraduate degree changes from one year to the next. So whether that number increases or decreases, that is also going to have an effect on that expected family contribution.
Thanks, Jessica. I have another question about financial aid, and this one is asked by Alberto, and he wants to know, my gift aid and federal loans completely cover tuition and fees. What do you do with the money that's left over? Will you give it to me as a check so I can pay the meal and housing, books, etc.?
So if you are living on campus, you will be billed for your housing through your e-pay account. But if the amount of financial aid exceeds your bill balance on e-pay, so let's say, for example, your bill balance on e-pay says $15,000 and the amount of financial aid that is expensing to your e-pay account is, let's say, $20,000, then yes, you are entitled to a refund of $5,000. And you are able to use those funds for any other educational related expenses, for your books, supplies, housing, personal expenses. And I'll go ahead and let Lori talk about the refund process and what the process is to actually sign up in order to obtain your refund as a student.
Okay, if there are excess funds on the student account as a result of financial aid, you would actually have to enroll in e-refund, which is an option on the USC ePay homepage. You designate a checking or savings account that you would like to receive the refund in. It's just a matter of going into ePay and clicking on e-refund and putting in that account information. Once it's in, anytime there are credit balances on this student account, they will automatically be deposited into that checking or savings account.
Thanks, guys. I have another question from Matthew, and it's regarding his bill. He wants to know, well, he just got his bill, and he wants to know when his Cal Grants and his direct subsidized Stafford loan will be dispersed.
Okay, so for any form of federal or state financial aid, so that can be your Cal Grant, Pell Grant, or Stafford loan, or even your Perkins loan, those will not expense to your account until 10 days prior to the first day of class. So you're probably not going to see those until about August 15th. In regards to your Stafford loan, you want to make sure that you're completing the application steps, that you have submitted your Federal Direct Stafford loan request form via your My Financial Aid and Documents account, that you've completed your online entrance counseling at studentloans.gov, and that you have signed your master promissory note also at studentloans.gov. And if you've completed all of the necessary action steps on your FAST page, then you can expect to receive those funds August 15th.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, the next question is somewhat similar. Well, actually, it's about scholarships, and they want to know when scholarships will be applied to their account.
It really just depends. If it's a USC scholarship, such as a presidential trustee or a dean's scholarship, those will automatically expense to the account once you enrolled. So billing went out, I believe, this Monday. So if you had already registered full-time for your classes, you should see those on your ePay account. For outside agency scholarships, there may be a notification on your financial summary letting you know that you've received that scholarship, but we may be waiting for the funds from that scholarship agency. So you may want to check with them and check if they already sent over the funds to the financial aid office.
Thank you. We have a question now from Jin Yoon. Jin Yoon wants to know, how do we know if there are any other charges that we will need to pay for that might not be on ePay right now? The student wants to make sure that he or she avoids penalties.
Well, the bill is an ongoing process, so there could be charges that are assessed on a daily basis. Between now and August 22nd, you should just log in and check your ePay account and look in the Your Account Summary section where you can view any recent activity. But the balance will always be reflected on there. So if there's been a change to the bill, look in your account and that will tell you what the new charges are.
Thanks, Lori. Okay, let's see. I have a question from Matthew. Matthew wants to know, where can I find more information about the payment plan?
Well, description and how it works, that information is available on our website. So if you log into the main university website /SFS for Student Financial Services, there are detailed instructions on how the payment plan works and what it can cover. But technically it's available for all charges that are assessed on the university account. It's a line of credit that you apply for by logging into ePay and simply selecting the USC payment plan. Once you select that, you determine the amount that you want to divide into installments, so make sure that you've previously looked at the student account, done the calculation if there's any financial aid involved, and come up with a figure that you're going to need to settle the student account.
Thanks, Lori. I have a question from a student about their grant aid. They want to see if they can get some special coordination. The question is from David. He wants to know, can I apply my grant to cover all of my first semester in order to push back my loans? If so, how do I do this?
Unfortunately, you can't. Dispersal of financial aid works per semester, so whatever you are entitled to receive always gets split up between your first semester, which is your fall, and your spring semester. That includes your loans, so you're not going to receive the full disbursement of your loans up front. You would receive half in fall and half in spring. And that's the coordination with all types of financial aid that get coordinated to your award summary, is that you receive half in fall and half in spring.
Thanks, Jessica. Okay, this next question is regarding the Parent Plus loan. Do you guys have a deadline for requesting a Parent Direct Plus loan? This question is from Edgar.
Okay, so when you're applying for any of your loans, you have eligibility to borrow that loan until your spring semester if you choose not to borrow it in the fall semester. But if you do want those funds to expense to the account prior to August 22nd, we usually recommend that you at least apply for them 6 weeks in advance. And I know that that seems like a big gap, but it's really, we just want you to make sure that you complete all of the necessary steps of applying for the loan. You have enough time to possibly contact the federal government if for any reason you are credit denied from that loan. Maybe you can clear that up before the start of the semester. And you also need to sign a master promissory note as well. So we just want to give you enough time to process all of that and to give us enough time to process the loan on our end as well. So there's not really a set deadline where if you don't apply by this specific date, you're no longer eligible to borrow the loan. But again, if you would like it to expense in time to pay for the bill prior to August 22nd, I encourage you to apply for those as soon as possible.
Thank you. Okay, let's see. I have a question from Ken. Ken wants to know, do spring admit students have a disadvantage when getting a job on campus?
I'm assuming that Ken does have work study, and it's really hard. It's a hard question to answer because obviously you're probably thinking that a lot of students have already obtained a job at the beginning of the fall semester. But I also want you to keep in mind that a lot of our students graduate in fall as well that possibly had work study positions here as a fall student, and now those positions are vacant for spring admit students. So I don't know if it would be more difficult as a spring student. I would say try to do your research as much as possible. Visit the Trojan newspaper that's on campus, and then also, if you already know of an office that you would potentially like to work in, you can contact them maybe now or at the beginning of December and see if they would have any availability for the spring semester.
Okay, great. All right, we have a question about the health insurance waiver. The student wants to know, if we submitted a health insurance waiver online, if approved, when will that charge be taken off from the billing statement?
Well, that's actually a question for the health insurance office, but we haven't seen as of yet any of the health insurance fees waived. I know that that office gets inundated with the waivers, but they should start processing anytime. And if by any chance that waiver hasn't been processed by the settlement deadline, you can simply deduct the $610 charge from your student account balance and pay the difference. If a late fee is assessed, the health insurance office, the cashier's office, many offices will reverse the late fee that would be assessed if the only remaining balance that was charged that penalty is your health insurance fee.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, a student wants to know, will outside scholarships allow our federal loans to be deducted even if they have been dispersed?
So I'm going to repeat that question. So will outside scholarships allow our federal loans to be deducted even if they have been dispersed? The answer is yes. If there's any financial aid, let's say mid-semester, that comes in that would reduce the amount of loans that you would be eligible for, if it reduces your eligibility for your loans, then we can make that change later on in the semester, even if they have been dispersed to your account, if it's within the academic year. I think that answers the question.
Thanks. Okay, let's see. We have a question from an international student. Are there any scholarships at USC for international students other than the continuing student scholarship?
In regards to scholarships, I know as an international student it may be a bit difficult to try to find some of those international scholarships. We do have a scholarships link on our website that you're able to download a PDF and actually look through those scholarships that are available. Now those are just from different offices around campus. It's not really outside agency scholarships. Those are just scholarships from organizations or offices that are affiliated with USC. And I know that the deadlines that are listed there are for the current academic year, and most of those funds have already been exhausted for the next academic year. So you want to start looking at those scholarships on our website probably about November and start preparing those scholarship applications. But some of them are designated just as a continuing student on that scholarships PDF that you can download.
Thanks, Jessica. All right, the next question is from Daylor. Daylor has a question about his Pell Grant. He says, I checked my financial aid summary and it says that the estimated federal Pell Grant is awaiting authorization. When will the Pell Grant be confirmed?
Naomi, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but we're currently starting to process Pell Grant verifications, so to speak. So one of our counselors actually goes file by file to make sure, and they verify that the student is eligible for the Pell Grant and take care of any necessary information. The goal is, I'm assuming, to get them in prior to August 15th, and those will automatically expense to that ePay account. And if there's anything that you have to add, Noemi, about that.
No, you got it, Jessica. Basically, we are working through all the files to make sure that we are verifying the payment and authorizing the payment as necessary. It is a process whereby we are sending information back and forth between us and the federal government, and our goal is to have these completed by the time, basically 10 days before the classes begin. Okay, let's look at another question, and I can probably answer this one as well. Approximately how long will it take to receive a new estimated financial aid package if I recently submit a new documentation? This question is from Eric. Okay, Eric, right now it's taking us between 7 to 10 business days to complete a new financial aid package. We are working diligently to get those completed as quickly as possible because we know that this information is important to you and that you would like to know what your financial aid is before classes begin. All right, let's look at another question. This is from Pamela. If a student receives private scholarship money that is made out in the student's name and sent directly to the student, how do I report that?
Oh, sorry about that. I'll go ahead and answer that question. So the scholarship agency should have given you we'll actually go ahead and wait for that call to be done. Okay, so if a scholarship agency gave you an actual scholarship check, they should have also given you an award letter that says, congratulations, you've been awarded such and such scholarship in the amount of X amount. You can send us a copy of that award letter. So you would log into your My Financial Aid and Documents account, and you can just upload that onto the document library with a note that says, please coordinate within my financial aid award letter, and we would go ahead and take that letter and make sure that we do the coordination for that scholarship for you.
Thanks, Jessica. I have a question for Lori. Regarding the 5-pay plan, is that amount the total balance divided by 5? And this is a question from Ryan.
Okay, well, with the payment plan, you're able to determine how much you want to divide into the installments. You can do a number of things. You aren't locked in to enroll in the payment plan for the total balance. If there's financial aid involved, of course, the aid would be deducted and you'd calculate that. But you can do a number of things. If you have a gift of $5,000, you can certainly just send that to the cashier's office and establish a payment plan for the balance that's left on the account after that $5,000 has credited. If you know that you just have the means to pay $2,000 a month on the payment plan, you can enroll for that dollar amount, which would be $10,000 for the total budget, and that would equal $2,000 per month. But it's up to you to do the calculation. You don't have to use the payment plan exclusively. You can coordinate it with financial aid, the payment plan, and perhaps a Parent Plus loan. So it's up to you. But the total amount that you enroll in the payment plan for will be divided into 5 installments due August through December for the fall, and then again you could enroll for the spring, and those payments are January through May.
Great, Lori. I have another question for you, and this one's a little bit of a technical issue. This question is from Edgar. I'm not able to enter at USC ePay and the USC payment plan through my USC. Is there a problem, or when will I be able to log in?
I'm supposing you're a registered student, so if you are a registered student, you automatically should have access to Oasis and to ePay and to all of our online sites. So if there is a problem with that, I would suggest you, one, log in and get the number to call for technical support, because you should have that access currently. Okay.
Great, thank you. Okay, let's see what other question we have here. Oh, this is a great one. This question is from David. When will federal loans be dispersed to my account?
If you've completed all of your necessary application steps that are listed on the loan section of our website, and they're also listed on your FAST page as well, those loans will be set to disperse August 15th. So every single semester, any federal or state aid will always disperse 10 days prior to the first day of class. So in this semester, it's August 15th. You just want to make sure that you check your FAST page and make sure that there aren't any other action steps that you need to take care of.
That's right, and just to add to that, you'll know that you need to take an action because there'll be a red triangle or just a red icon next to your loan. So be sure to look out for those. If there's a yellow icon, that's usually because our office, the financial aid office, needs to complete an additional step. And green means go. That means you've taken care of that issue and don't need to take any other steps. So just look out for those red icons on either loans or scholarships or any type of aid to make sure that you've taken the necessary steps to make sure your aid disperses in a timely manner. Okay, here's another question for Matthew. Do I need to self-report private scholarship payments if the scholarship check is being mailed to the financial office?
Yes, and you can do so again by uploading a copy of the award statement that the agency sent you. So you don't actually have to wait for the scholarship check to come in for us to coordinate that within your financial summary. You can just get a copy of it, write a quick note, and just ask that the financial aid office coordinate the scholarship within your financial aid summary and upload that onto your My Financial Aid and Documents account.
Thank you. Okay, we have a question about a Parent Plus loan, and this question is from Deborah. Are there any prepayment penalties for Parent Plus loans?
No, there isn't. There isn't a prepayment penalty for any of the federal loans. So the federal subsidized Stafford, unsubsidized Stafford, or the Parent Plus loan as well.
Great, thank you. Okay, let's see here. We have a question about Cal Grants and financial aid. What is the situation with Cal Grant and USC financial aid? I have received a Cal Grant and also received a final summary for financial aid from USC, but I don't see the Cal Grant on it. I'll start by answering and I'll see if Jessica can add to it. One thing that you definitely want to do is make sure that USC is listed as the school that is going to receive the Cal Grant. It may be that the Cal Grant, you are eligible for the Cal Grant, but if USC is not listed as the receiving school, then we won't know about it necessarily. So please make sure that you've completed that step. Additionally, we verify our students' information and we also determine eligibility. So it could be that there might be some transfer of information between the California Student Aid Commission and USC, whereby perhaps we have determined, based on the documents you have submitted, that you might not be eligible for the Cal Grant after all. And the California Student Aid Commission will verify that, or they'll confirm that with you in a subsequent mailing. So that might be the reason why there might be a discrepancy. Jessica, do you have anything to add?
Nope, you got it.
Okay, great. Do we have another question here? This question is from Joy. Are there non-work study jobs available on campus, and do they pay around the same as work study does? How else might they be different?
There are non-work study jobs available on campus. Usually I tell students to try to go to the larger offices on campus because sometimes those offices need more staff members throughout the academic year. In regards to pay, I'm assuming most of our work study students get minimum wage, or I'm positive that they at least get minimum wage. In regards to if the pay differs, to be completely honest, I'm not sure, just because each employer really decides the pay rate for their employees. So unfortunately, I don't have an answer for you on that. In regards to how else might they differ, if they're both on campus, I feel that most of the employers on campus are a bit flexible with your studies. So let's say you're going through midterms or you're going through finals, and you might have to cut back your hours for that specific week. I think most of the employers on campus are a little bit more welcoming to that type of a situation, because we know that you are here to be students, and that there are times of the year where you as a student are also busy during finals time. But in regards to how else they differ, do Lori or Noemi, do you guys have anything else to add for that?
No, I think I can just speak as an employer of both work-study and non-work-study students that the jobs are essentially the same. We, in our office, pay the students the same if they're doing essentially the same type of job. But of course, that's just in our office, and I'm pretty sure it's the same across campus as well. Okay, let's see. We have a question from Fernando, and he wants to know, in what form will I receive my Pell Grants, California grants, university grants, and loans?
So all of your financial aid will expense to your ePay account, and maybe Laura can talk about the ePay a little bit, but it's basically your centralized billing account for the university. So all of your charges will go on there, and all of your financial aid. So everything that is listed, excluding of course your work study, that's listed on your financial aid summary, will expense to your ePay account. So any form of grants, scholarships, university grants, loans, those will automatically expense to your ePay account. Anything to add about the ePay?
No.
It's basically your billing account. So everything that you get charged for will be listed on there every single semester. And if you have any activity within the month, so let's say you add a class September 11th, right before add drop, and that class has a lab fee, then you'll see that lab fee on that ePay account. So it's a running tally of everything that the university is billing you for directly.
And also, all of your aid is just seen as another form of credit. So it's it's similar to your payments. You know, they'll show on your ePay account, excuse me, as a credit. All of the aid coming in, the loans, the scholarships, grants, will also post as a credit.
Okay, great. We have a question about credit card payments. When you connect your credit card information, is that where my account will automatically take money from? Or is it possible for me to pay whenever I want, whichever card I want, before the due date?
Okay, so on ePay, you have the ability to go in and make a one-time payment utilizing a credit card. When you're in the process of making that payment, the system will ask you, do you want to save this payment method? If you do so, it simply saves it in there so that the next time you go in to make a manual payment, the credit card information has been retained. It will ask you the second time, do you want to use a different credit card or the one that has been saved? So on ePay, there is a box that is saved accounts. You could save a checking or savings account in there. You could save credit card information in there, and then it will pull up those saved accounts anytime you're making an online payment. It isn't connecting it to the payment plan or to any other automated system. It's just retaining that information so that you don't have to type in the entire credit card and expiration date and secret number or the entire bank account information. You don't have to type it in each time you make a payment.
Great. Thank you. We have another question from Daylor. Daylor wants to know, my major is in computer science. Where can we find the list of scholarships offered in USC or specific scholarships for my major? Thanks a lot.
So the scholarships that are listed on that scholarships link that I mentioned earlier, they're not separated by major. They're just scholarships that are available for continuing students at USC. If you're looking for specific scholarships for your major, I would really maybe talk to your academic advisor and see if maybe outside agencies are emailing them directly about scholarships specifically for your major. I know for those free scholarship searches, you can also, some of them will allow you to input your major and give you scholarships based off of what your major is. But again, the scholarships that are listed on the scholarships link of our website are not separated by any major.
Thanks, Jessica. And I also want to add one additional thing. One scholarship resource that we have that you might not be aware of is our Twitter account. We actually post scholarship information on our Twitter account, so if you want to know the latest on scholarships, and these are usually scholarships outside of USC, please follow us on Twitter. and you will receive updates on scholarships that we're informed of and we publicize there as well. Okay, let's see. Let's see what other questions we have right now. Okay, let's see. Here, I have a question from Joy. As of right now, my ePay balance is very, very low. That's good. It is only reflecting my room and board charges until I sign up for classes, or is that what I'm actually being charged for the semester?
Well, Joy, if you haven't registered for classes yet, then your tuition hasn't been billed to your ePay account. Whenever you're scheduled to be on campus or to do the online web registration, as soon as you complete that, you could check your ePay account and the tuition would be billed. So I'm not sure why at this point, if you're a continuing student, you haven't registered for classes, but if you're a brand new student, it could be that you haven't come to campus yet for an orientation, and then you will see the charges for tuition after you register for classes.
Great. Okay, I have another question for you guys. And this is from Samiha. If I do not plan on working a work-study job, how do I make up those funds?
If you have a summer job, that could probably replace some of those work-study funds that you're not going to be earning throughout the academic year. But the mindset is those are funds that are available for you to earn and assist with educational-related expenses throughout the academic year. So for students that are not planning on utilizing those work-study funds, those funds would then have to come from another source. For a lot of families, if they choose not to partake in work-study, sometimes their parents will assist them with expenses that they have throughout the semester, because that's really what your work-study funds are meant for. It's meant to cover personal or just miscellaneous expenses that you will incur throughout the semester. So that might be something that you want to talk to your parents about and let them know that you're not planning to do work study, but if they would be able to assist you with some of the expenses throughout the semester that might come up.
Thanks, Jessica. Okay, I have a question here from Rebecca. Rebecca wants to know about one of our latest and most wonderful features. Where is the calculating your bill worksheet? What particular part of the financial aid summary is it?
This is actually one of my favorite things that's actually online right now. So for those of you that this is the first time that you're hearing about it, you really want to go online and start utilizing the calculating your bill worksheet. And if you log into your FAST page, so where your financial aid summary is located, if you look at the top right-hand corner, there is a print icon. Right next to that print icon, there's a paper icon with an arrow that's pointing to the right. If you click on that, then it'll automatically download an Excel spreadsheet for you. And step one, you would be able to go in and self-populate all of your charges that would potentially go onto your ePay account. Step two, it's really self-populated based off of the information that's listed on your financial aid summary. So any form of gift aid would be listed within step two. Step three is actually my favorite one because it actually does the calculation for you on your loans. So for loans, for the Stafford loan and the Parent Plus loan, those have origination fees associated with them. And a lot of our families in the past were having difficulty creating or calculating the exact dollar figure that would actually expense to their ePay account. And the worksheet does all the work for you. So you just type in the number that you are planning to borrow in regards to loan, and it'll calculate the net disbursement for you, and it'll do a subtraction problem on the next step. But again, it is located on your financial aid summary and tasks page as well.
Okay, and just to add to that, since I have a prop, I'm going to use it. We also have the undergraduate planning worksheet, which is available on our website if you have difficulty finding the calculating your worksheet, your bill worksheet. It's this one right here. So, and you can find it online on our forms page if you can't find the other one. The calculating your bill worksheet is a bit more robust because it auto-populates, but if you want an alternative, the PDF is also available for you as well. Okay, I have a question from Laura. And Laura's question is, if you get a private scholarship and the donor wants to send the money directly to USC, where do we send it and how do we make sure it is credited to our account?
So you want to send the scholarship check to the financial aid office. A big misconception is that a lot of students want to send the scholarship checks directly to the cashier's office, which makes sense because you want it to get expensed to your ePay account. But we need to do that coordination first and make sure that the funds are being expensed to your ePay account. The address is listed on our website, and I'll go ahead and just tell you that right now. It's 700 Childs Way, and then you want to address it to John Hubbard Hall, room 325, with an attention to the aid coordination unit. And the city is Los Angeles, California. 90089 is our zip code. And if you didn't catch that, again, it's available on our website as well. And it's also listed for our parents that came to orientation. The brochure that Noemi just put up to the camera also has that within that brochure on the 3rd page as well. So it's available on the brochure and on our website as well. And if for any reason you can't find it, then you can give us a call as well. We would be able to give you the address.
Okay, thanks guys. Let's see, I have another question about, let's see, work study. All right, and you guys already kind of answered this, but let's see if we can get another answer. Will work study employers work around our schedule?
Well, it's kind of a two-part process, which is why I recommend that you create your schedule of availability, and that way you know what hours you have available. Some employers, or all employers, they're basically looking to fill in their hours that they need students to work as well. So let's say they already have a student that works Monday and Wednesday from 1 to 5, and those are the only hours that you are available to work, but they only need one student within their office. Then unfortunately it's probably not going to work with that specific office. And I don't know, maybe if Noemi can add on to this, when you're looking for work study students, how you kind of go through that with them.
Right, no, well, we definitely work around students' schedule. Of course, our office is only open during limited hours. We're here usually 8:30 to 5, so we're not open late and can't accommodate late hours, unfortunately, although sometimes we would love to be able to accommodate that sometimes. So the general rule is that students can work when their supervisor is available. And usually supervisors leave between 5 and 6 p.m. So unfortunately, some offices, such as the financial aid office, can't accommodate more hours or longer hours beyond that. However, there are other offices and other departments throughout campus that are open later and can accommodate different and more flexible arrangements as well. Okay, so now I have a question about payment plan and work study, and this question is from David. Okay, do you need a payment plan in order to use your work study towards tuition?
Well, that's a good question. The only way that you could utilize your work study toward tuition would be, one, to have a payment plan. But you remember that you have to have the work study funds available, and the payment plan is designed to pay the line of credit will be created to pay the bill by our settlement deadline. So our settlement deadline is August 22nd. Whenever you enroll in the payment plan, you're going to be required to make an initial payment in addition to the application fee. So if you're enrolling now, our payment plan is open now, if you're a registered student and you're enrolling now, you of course don't have the work study position or the funds available yet. But as the payment plan continues, if you want to utilize some of your work study funds as they're earned to pay future payments, that's very possible. But remember that the payment plan is going to be established to pay the bill by the settlement deadline, and that's August 22nd.
Thanks, Laurie. Okay, I have a question about the room and board. Hello, and this question is from Hadley. If I was given financial aid that covers my room and board, why does my USC bill still show that I have to pay for room and board? Thanks.
We can kind of attack this one together, I guess. So I'll talk about how financial aid actually expenses to the account. So when financial aid expenses to your ePay account, it's not going to pay off one specific item. And an example that I usually have when I'm talking to students about this is, let's say you have a credit card. You go to 5 different stores and you charge 5 different things at 5 different stores. When you make a payment, you don't send a payment and say, I only want to pay off the items that I charged at, let's say, H&M. You're sending a lump payment to reduce the amount of the total amount that is owed. I mean, that's kind of how financial aid works. So on the ePay account, you have all of the charges from the university. Tuition, room, board, everything that the university bills you for directly. And when your financial aid expenses to your account, it's really just reducing the amount that is owed. It's not going towards a specific charge item.
And then, so if your aid pays only a portion of your overall bill, which it does for most students, there's still going to be a balance that's left. And that balance you can either pay in full by going online at ePay and paying with a credit card or a deduction from a checking or savings account, or again, you have the option to establish a payment plan to pay that balance, because the two can work. Financial aid and your own out-of-pocket payment can work in conjunction to resolve the account.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, guys. I have a question about internships and federal work study. This question is from Ray. I'm assuming internships do not count toward the federal work study.
I don't think I've ever been asked that question, Noemi.
Well, I'm going to assume that that internship is not a federal work study job, therefore it would not count towards your federal work study. However, you could, let's say that you decided to take an internship that is not a work study job necessarily, you could use the income that you're earning from that internship to basically cover or use to cover your cost of attendance in the same way that you would use a work study job. That sound right, guys? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Good. All right. Let's see what other questions we have here. There was one that I just lost. Let's see. Okay. This is about the payment plan. If I sign up for the payment plan and have financial aid, how do I make the 5-part payment? Do I have to transfer my financial aid to a bank account? Or will the system just take away the financial aid I have as credits on ePay?
Okay, so let's just look at how the general student account works. All of your charges, as Jessica was just saying, are assessed to the general student account by various offices on campus. So you register for classes, your tuition is assessed. If you're in university housing, then your housing and your meal plan could be assessed. If you purchase a parking permit, whatever all the charges are for the semester are going to be assessed. All financial aid will come in and post to that general student account and reduce the overall balance. So if you're a brand new student, your very first credit was probably your commitment deposit. As the aid comes in, if it's federal aid, it'll be posting on the 15th and anytime after that of August, and it will reduce the overall balance. So it's important to go back, even if you've received a bill, go back and check your ePay account to see what's posted, what is the result of all of that aid posting, and what's the new balance. And that's what the payment plan can be established to pay. The payment plan was designed to only pay the portion of your student account that isn't being paid by aid. Okay, so you cannot utilize your aid to make a payment plan payment. If that answers the question.
And just to add to that, this is where the calculating your bill worksheet would be really helpful to you. Just try to use that tool in order to determine how much you will be left over or you would need to necessarily pay out of pocket. Okay, let's see. I have another question from David. I received a scholarship from the Marshall School of Business. When will it be placed on my ePay account?
The first thing is you want to make sure that you're enrolled in the correct amount of units that they specified on possibly the contract that they gave you. Usually I find when scholarships from a department have not expensed to the account, it may just be that you are not enrolled in the correct amount of units. It may also be that the department has possibly not placed that scholarship on the system, our internal system, quite yet. So you may want to talk to your department and figure out exactly why those funds have not expensed to your account, especially if they are coming from the Marshall School business. You want to talk to them directly.
Okay, thanks, guys. Let's see, you have a question here. Is it, oh, I think we already answered that one. Let's see. Okay, this question is from Ariel. I've been out of the country in Israel for the past couple of months. Is it too late to do all my financial aid paperwork?
I'm assuming that you are an entering student. It's not too late to apply, but I encourage you to complete the steps as soon as possible. So you want to start out by submitting your FAFSA, and then we can kind of go from there and make sure that you're checking your financial aid summary and tasks page, or your My Financial Aid and Documents account, I'm sorry, to make sure that all of the documents have been submitted. But it's not too late. It's just it'll be based upon the funding that we have available at the moment when we're processing your file. But I do encourage you to complete those application steps as soon as possible. That way we can try to get an award letter out to you. And as Noemi mentioned, we're running on about a 7 to 10 business day turnaround time right now from the date that you submit your last document needed for the application.
Okay, I have a question about registration, and this is from Deborah. If I don't register for classes until August 22nd, will my account be updated instantaneously so I will be able to register for the pay plan on the 22nd as well without a late fee?
Well, you're probably going to want to visit us in the Lion Center as soon as you register for classes. You are eligible to enroll in the payment plan as soon as you register, but the system does take 24 hours normally to update, so generally people who register on Monday wouldn't be eligible to enroll in the payment plan until Tuesday. So for the same day process, we can manually make you eligible for the payment plan. Just stop in at the Lion Center and speak to one of our representatives at Student Financial Services.
Okay, let's see. I have another question for you guys. And this is about the high school transcript, and this is from Samia. My final high school transcript still has not been received by USC. I am sending an additional one this week, but if it doesn't get processed in time, will I still be able to access the grant before the tuition is due on the 22nd?
Well, the grant wouldn't wipe away as of, like, if it doesn't expense by August 22nd, it doesn't remove itself from your award summary, but we will not be able to disperse any funds on that financial aid summary until your graduation date has been updated on our system. So you want to make sure that you do send out that additional one this week and check in with us and make sure that that graduation date is updated on the system. That way we can go ahead and expense your financial aid. Anything to add to that one, Noemi?
I'm just going to answer a question that is similar in nature by Jin Young. How do I know if my USC has received my high school transcript? Basically, you will know because we have a request right now on your required information and forms for that document, and you'll know we have received it once that request has been satisfied. You'll know, basically, the request will no longer show up on your required information and forms. Just so you know, we are asking for your high school transcript for two reasons. First, we need to confirm that you graduated from high school in order to be eligible for federal aid. Secondly, it is a condition of your admission here at USC that you graduate from high school. So there are two reasons behind that. But in order for you to know that it has been received, just check on your required info and forms, which you can access through FAST, and just check to see if that request is still pending. Let's see what other questions we have here for us. We have quite a few. Okay, here's a good one. This is from Jamie. Jamie wants to know, will I have to pay taxes for work study, or will it be considered as a job and decrease my university grant for the next school year?
Well, work study, it's still considered a job, but for most of our students, they're not earning enough that would meet the minimum amount that would require you to complete an income tax return. So it's kind of a two-part answer. Yes, it's considered income, but it's not enough where you would have to file a federal tax return or a state tax return, which means it's most likely not going to affect your expected family contribution if all you're earning throughout the academic year is your work study allotment.
Okay. Thanks, Jessica. Okay, I have a question about applying for financial aid next year. Do students reapply for financial aid and fill out the CSS profile every year?
Yes, you must reapply for financial aid every single year. Like, I can't stress this enough with you guys. It's very, very important that you apply as a on-time student, as a continuing student. The FAFSA will become available January 1st of every single year that you are here. Our deadlines will be posted onto our website, and we are also good about sending reminder emails, so don't ignore our emails that we send you because it has very important information regarding your file. And again, we do send those periodically, reminding you that you must reapply for financial aid. So you would have to fill out the FAFSA, and then we would either ask for the CSS profile or the need access application as well. So we would be asking for either one. So the first step is to submit your FAFSA, and then we would notify you of any other supplemental information that we may be requesting from you. So keep up to date. It's usually the time that you're going through midterms, so just try to keep up to date on it and maybe get your parents involved to assist you with the application process as well if you know that you're going to be busy with midterms at that point.
Thanks, Jessica. I have another question about financial aid, and this one is from Vivian. See, she wants to know, is it possible to cancel a federal direct unsubsidized Stafford loan that is already pending?
Yes, you can cancel that. You can do that by either one, visiting our website and sending us an email through the Contact Us link, or you can write a letter and save that and then upload that onto your My Financial Aid and Documents account, and you would just be requesting that we cancel your unsubsidized Stafford loan. Oh, I'm sorry, I actually misread the question. I thought you were canceling your loan entirely. If you're only going to cancel the unsubsidized portion and still keep your subsidized, you can just resubmit a new Stafford loan request form via your My Financial Aid and Documents account and just indicate the new amount that you want us to take care of for you. Sorry for the confusion.
Thanks, Jessica. This is a related question, and it's from Jason. Jason wants to know, is it possible to increase the amount of my subsidized Stafford loan if I have already requested an amount that is less than what I was originally offered?
So there are annual maximums in regards to that subsidized Stafford loan. So for an incoming freshman, the maximum that you can borrow is $3,500. A sophomore is $4,500, and a junior and a senior, you're at $5,500. So if you have borrowed up to those maximums already, that's the maximum amount that the federal government awards to students. Now let's say you were eligible to borrow $3,500 and you submitted your Stafford loan for $2,000, then yes, you can borrow the additional $1,500 because that's still available to you to borrow for that academic year. But again, if you've already submitted a request for the maximum that is listed on your financial aid summary, that's the max that you would be able to receive in regards to the subsidized Stafford.
Thanks, Jess. Okay, here's another question about grants and e-pay. How does the USC grant awarded to me get applied to the bill on e-pay?
Do you want to answer that?
Sure. So if you have already registered and you are registered full-time, the university grant will automatically expense to your e-pay account. So it's a pretty simple process. The funds just automatically go right into your e-pay account as soon as you have registered full-time and there is nothing pending on your My Financial Aid and Documents account. So as we mentioned earlier, if we're still waiting for a final transcript or for some other form that is listed on that My Financial Aid and Documents account, that will hold up disbursement of your funds. So you want to continue to check that account and submit any documents that we may be requesting from you.
Thanks, Jessica. I have a question here about the coordination of outside scholarships. Do the outside scholarships we receive affect our need-based aid?
It's pretty short and to the point. So as an office, we try to preserve as much of your gift aid as possible. But what we would do is coordinate it against your work study and your loans first. This is really a hard question to answer when it's not specific to one student's account. Just because usually I like to look at the actual student's award summary and let them know what would happen. But the bottom line is we do try as much as we possibly can to preserve as much of your gift aid. But there are those students where it will potentially reduce some of that university grant that was awarded, and that's just because you can't go above what your financial need is. Anything to add to that, Noemi?
Oh, you pretty much got it there.
Okay.
That's right. It's going to depend on each student's situation and any outside scholarships that you may have already received and your amount of need. So, as Jessica said, we really do try to preserve the amount of need-based aid that you've been awarded. But we also need to take into consideration that you are receiving outside scholarship. So it's going to depend on your unique situation. All right, let's see. I have a question here from Alberto. Okay, Alberto wants to know, if I want to get a minor, it means that I will need to stay one more semester. Are my university grants going to be cut, assuming my finances stay the same?
So you have eligibility for 8 semesters here at USC in regards to financial aid. If for any reason you need to stay an extra semester, then you want to communicate that with our office, and you would be basically appealing for that extra semester of funding. And every year when we review your financial aid application, it's all based off of your family's income, investments, and assets. And it goes back to kind of what we talked about a little bit when we started. That you want to make sure that you're applying for financial aid on time, that if your parents' income, investments, and assets drastically change from one year to the next, that is going to create a change in that expected family contribution, and also the number of students within the household would create a change as well. But if you know that you are going to be staying an extra semester here at USC, come in and have a conversation with one of our counselors, and we would be able to help you out with that.
Thanks, Jessica. I have a question from David. I do not need the half of my loans for the first semester due to scholarships, but will need them for the second semester. Do I still have to take them out now?
No, you are not required to borrow them right now at all. If you know that you're going to need them for the spring semester, then I would suggest that you go through the application process prior to you leaving for winter break. So at the start of December, go ahead and submit the application steps. That way those loans are ready and set to disperse for the following semester.
Okay, let's see questions we have here. We only have about 3 minutes left, so I'm going to try to choose the most popular questions. Okay, let's see here. This is from Fernando again. I have an outside scholarship that requires me to send the organization proof that I am enrolled in classes. How do I get that?
You can actually visit the registrar's office, and you would be able to obtain proof of enrollment through them. If you just go to the usc.edu website, you can search the registration office. Go ahead and give them a call. I'm not really sure what their process is, and I don't know exactly where you're located. If you're close to campus, then maybe you can drive by and actually pick up a proof of enrollment. But they may offer online. There may be an online process that you can fill out, and maybe they can send that to you. But again, I'm not completely sure what their process is in regards to getting proof of enrollment from them. But you can contact them directly.
Thanks, Jessica. Okay, let's see. I have a question here from Quang. What should I do if the California Student Aid Commission has not approved disbursement of my Cal grant?
You want to make sure that they have all of the information necessary. So it may be that you don't have USC listed as the school, or it may be, I believe you also have to submit your graduation date to the California Student Aid Commission as well. So it may be that they don't have that information either. So I would contact California Student Aid Commission and inquire with them if you need to complete any additional steps directly with them.
All right, thanks, Jessica. Okay, guys, we're basically out of time, but I do want to just throw out one last question, which I think you can answer very quickly, and it's from David. He wants to know, does the $800 confirmation payment for housing come off the cost of my housing?
So it all goes back to your ePay account, and Lori can correct me if I say this incorrectly. So 400 of that would show up as a credit in the fall once you start your contract for the fall semester, and then the other 400 would show up as a credit for your spring semester. So it's really not coming off of your housing costs, it's just coming off of the total bill balance that is listed on your ePay account.
Right, that's correct.
Okay.
All right, guys, it's 4 o'clock. We really want to thank you for participating in our Google Hangout today. We answered as many questions as we could, and we hope that you got the information that you need, and hopefully you'll join us the next time we have a Google Hangout. Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.